Hello guys, this video will be about how to set up your own hosting panel where you can host your websites, you can make your projects and a lot of great stuff. Now it is like small preview what will you get after following this tutorial. So first what I will show you. One second. So what will you get? We will go here, all domains. Now I will open all my domains what are registered on my own web hosting panel. One second. So here you see a lot of domains and subdomains. And small preview like watch. Here you see website serveris, Skatik, Fotki, BytesFun. All these websites are like rolling on this hosting panel that I have shown you, this one. Of course, in the end of video I will show you some like interesting stuff what you can do with this hosting panel, but my video purpose is for like students who are learning web design or all this stuff. And okay, so now it was like an intro, and of course the plan what we will do today. So uh, this plan we will follow. I will explain each setup point and what are the prerequisites for you to watch this video to follow. So what is the prerequisites is that you will have to have Virtualbox. I will show how to install it. You will have to have Centos 7 image and FileZilla for file transfer. Of course, time to watch this video tutorial because it will be step-by-step guide how to create your own hosting server. Here a lot of stuff will be covered. So take a seat, feel comfortable and watch this video. Of course, a little additional prerequisite: basic network knowledge. In fact, just you need to understand what I will show you. You will need home network with router or even without router. Browser, I advise Google Chrome, and of course patience, because a lot of stuff will be covered in this video, but no problem, I will explain you everything. Next, Joomla based setup and WordPress. It will be just like you see the test, the result. Of course you will have to have at least, if not domain, then subdomain that you will be able to connect with hosting. So it is not you can have for subdomain or full domain name. For like a small preview, I have my account on like service name cheap, and you see all these domains are mine. I have bought them, and this service have affordable price. For example, each of these domain costs only €1.18 in a year. But this is not the purpose of this video about to tell you about it. So let's get started. Preview was, I have shown you what will be the result, that you will have your own domains, websites on your hosting panel. So first, download Virtualbox and setup. So we will start with it. Go, go, go! So download. First, the base will be Virtualbox. Here is the link. I will place it in the description of the video. I have downloaded already Virtualbox, so let's set up it. Because also this video guide, this tutorial is like for beginners. You don't have to have extra knowledge to do all the stuff, but there will be like some instructions, some advices from my like experience, and you in the start of the video you saw that there is like, how to say, I show you the preview what you will get. So for you it will be like recommendation to, especially if you are a beginner, to follow all the steps to see what you will be able to do. So first, VirtualBox is like the base environment where all the files, all your servers will be stored. Why? Maybe you can ask why VirtualBox. Of course, you can do it also with VMware, but VirtualBox is free and its functionality is full like in VMware. Then why to use VMware? VMware virtual machines. If you can do VirtualBox, because it's like analog but it is free. So now we are waiting while it is installing. Here, like was in preview, I have like my own domain names. We will just wait like installing, and so maybe you can make a coffee because I will show everything step by step. So all like nuances, like it would be, how to say, all nuances will be covered. So now I will start VirtualBox. Now we look. We can start it. Now VirtualBox will start. So of course you will need a Centos image. Of course you can do it, download it before like starting to watch video, because Centos image you will have, but it is Linux, it is open source, so it is like your homework. Find in the internet Centos 7 image. Why Centos 7? Because this hosting panel, kloxo-mr, what you can see there, it is using Centos. So here you see logo kloxo-mr. It is hosting panel, and it is open source free hosting panel, and like the base, it uses Linux Centos. So now VirtualBox, first boot of VirtualBox start is okay. So what we do now? Let's create new virtual machine. Here you can, for example, select Linux, like it would be. In my example, I select other Linux 64-bit, but you must be careful, because if you have downloaded 64-bit, you select 64-bit. If you have downloaded Linux 32-bit, then it will be 32. Okay, I don't want my virtual machines be saved on the C drive, so we can change this. We can like select well where it will be stored. Let's like create new folder. which will be called project 1. Okay, select folder. Here we can write what you want. Linux Centos 1. Here is name. You can choose it freely. What? Then we go next. In this step we select how many memory is reserved. I can tell you that 512 megabytes is enough. Next. This step is important. We choose the side of our hard disk. Let's create it. And I advise virtual disk image. Next. Now we select it will be or dynamic or fixed size. In fact, it's better dynamic because it will not have so much space on your hard drive. Especially when now all drives people place in computers SATA drives, SSD drives. Why do we have two days? Okay, Linux CentOS 1 folder is correct. And here is important step, the amount of virtual drive. In fact, it is like we put in configuration file, which is maximum allowable. From experience, I can tell you that you can put here, if here is 256, it doesn't mean that it will take some more. Create. Now, it base configuration is set, but of course we have additional settings. What will be additional settings? System. Here we can leave all. Processor also. In storage, here we will have to select our CentOS image, which we will use. I have this CentOS image here on my external hard drive. Here is CentOS. I select it. What also is important? Network. Network, we select here bridged adapter. From this you will get that your virtual machine will have, after first boot, it will have internet access. Here, from experience, I can say you that it is recommended to select server, promiscuous mode, like maybe you can leave it like default, but I usually place low all. Here is MAC address. This MAC address is very important. Later I will show you where we will need this information. Other stuff is not necessary. Okay, so like we see, at this point we see optical drive is chosen. Virtual disk image file will be on D drive. And how I like to start setup with this and the detachable start. What will you get from it? From it, you will get that you will have interface, but if you by mistake or for some reason you close this VMware window, your process will be run in Task Manager. But this will be also covered a little bit later. So now we have to install CentOS. So install CentOS 7. Like this video is for beginners who are starting to learn all these internet technologies. So I will cover, maybe I will tell something that you already know, but maybe I also tell you something that you will like use in future. And so what also great thing is setup is starting, but like it was in detachable, I press the touch graphical interface. It still loads, but we can like explore other stuff what we will need in, let's look in the plan. And so now will be a little bit pause and I continue. So nice to see you again. So here you see in little preview that something is shown up. So we just press show. Now we will be shown the graphical interface. I will not like overthink about what I'm doing, but important things will be told you in this guide. What we like look, what is important? We have to choose installation source. So let's look what we will explicitly have to select. Of course, installation destination. It like in setup, and you see here is 256 gigabytes. If we there in that base setup would place here 1 terabyte, then here we would see 1 terabyte. But 256 gigabytes is fairly enough. So disk is selected. All good. And then we press here done. So installation destination is selected. It's all good. Then what also is important? Network and hostname. Now we are on very important step, network and hostname. So here, if you don't follow like in this video, then later you will have problems with configuration. So first, of course, we must name our server. You can choose it like if you have some domain name, of course, you can freely choose hostname. But I will, because I have my domain base.com, so I will make this hostname. And very important is this step we push here on. When we do so, we now should wait a little bit because server will gain IP configuration from the router. And here is, do you see, this is local IP address of our server. It is hardware address, it is its MAC address. So at this step, of course, I will check. We see here MAC address is E60. Maybe we can go back here, go to settings, network, and check. Yeah, do you see here? You see MAC address is E60, and here it is so on. It's very good. It means that in my case, my main network hardware is a router, so it means that my server have got correct information from the router. Because as I have told in the video start, that this video you can use if you have at home router or you don't have at home router. If you have router, then it is like a little bit more complicated to configure, but not very complicated. At this point we look time, keyboard, Installation destination network is very important section, and we press begin installation. At this point we select our root password. I will not create additional users, but root password must be set obligatory. I advise you to set up something simple for you but simple to guess. And in fact, yeah, here you will see also what is the security level of your password. Then you confirm your password and you see strong. It's better than the password is strong. Then we press done. And now you see root password is set. This root password then you will use to connect to your server. User creation. Of course you can add like additional user. At this step OS is installed, we have to reboot our server. So let's do that. Reboot. So now just wait when the server reboots. Of course it can take some time as usually. Press enter and the server is starting. When it will start, we will do some additional thing which I advise you to do. But let's wait. Okay, you see login screen, then that's great. We enter user root password that we have created. Oh, we are in, and we can check what is our IP address with this command IP address. Our IP address is ends with 162. And what would be the recommended thing? If you are using at home router, then it assigns local IP address, which is this one. I advise you do such thing. You see 162. So in my case, I have router MikroTik. So I make this IP address as I make it static. What does it mean? It means that uh, to this IP address is assigned this MAC address. MAC address, it is the MAC address of our server. Where we can find it? We can find it here in the settings section under network. Here is our unique MAC address. At this point, of course, it would be recommended to try to ping some IP address to check if network connectivity is okay. Here you see that packets are transmitting. It's okay. Now, at this point, we have clean machine. So let's use it. Let's take snapshot. I usually write clean. It means OS is installed, machine have booted, but its status is clean. It means in some point when you want to roll back, and then you go to this status when OS is clean. What also we have to do at this point? We know our IP address ends with 162. So as I have told, you can make machine the touch graphical interface. What I will do now, and I have program which is called Putty. You can download it in the internet, and here you can connect to your server over SSH. So I will, this setting I can save and now open. First time when you connect to your server, you have to accept security key, and you see login as here is root and password you created during the OS setup. Why I use putty? Because in putty you can copy commands. Maybe take a look what we have right now. Virtualbox setup, Centos downloaded, and third thing, snapshot clean taken, and now it is kloxo-mr setup. Snapshot is taken, kloxo-mr is not already set up, so let's make it regular. Then this link to this website, how to install kloxo-mr, I will put on my video description. So let's follow this guide. About hostname I have told you already that it must be fully qualified domain name or subdomain. Let's begin the most interesting part. We will now install the necessary dependencies. Besides input, if you want to copy your code or script, you can just right click with your mouse. It is like Ctrl V in the Windows OS. It now will run. Let's take second, command copy, go back. Now of course we have to wait a little bit. It takes some time. Oh great. Now it is installing necessary dependencies. It take time depends on your network connection, speed of your network connection, and also the speed of your hardware. Now right click the second command, we run it. Great. Go back. Now we should change to temp folder. We can copy this command, enter. Now we copy this command. If you are interested what it does, you can, this manual, you can just read it. But I'm not like specifically interested what it is. I know that I must run this command. Okay. Of course, you have to follow that. We have to do well additional commands if we want to set up correctly our kloxo-mr hosting panel. Then we do this command. I will not paste comments maybe in my video description, but link to this tutorial I will add. And now when we done this command, we go to these two main commands which install kloxo-mr hosting panel. So copy this one, go back, wait until it does it have to do. Okay. And I also want to tell you that you can see the output. We will wait for this output. When we will have this output, it means that server have installed hosting panel have installed correctly. Now we do this command. Of course it will take some time. But while it is running, we can do like look at our plan. Oh, you see, command is already done. Then we should minimize this window. And this one is the last command. sh script. When we select inputting something with mouse, it is automatically copied to the clipboard. Now we right click, enter. Now the main script, which does all the stuff, will run. It can take about 20 minutes. When I was first running this script, of course, I was looking what everything it does. But meanwhile, now it is not so interesting for me. When you will do it on your own, you can look what it does. But by this time, I will pause the video. Okay, guys, that's great. The kloxo-mr now is installed. It is the end screen. Well, it prints that it is successfully installed. And as you can see now, you here see the IP address. Of course, we can like connect to our hosting panel, but the main thing is if you connect your if you don't have router at home, then you could connect by this IP address. But if you are after router, then I don't think that it will work. But this I will explain a little bit later. So server is installed. Now I go IP address. We check one more time our IP address. It ends with 162. And now what we need? We need to open new tab, and of course you can try this IP address which you get out there, but in my case it won't work because I have server behind my router. So I will put 192.168.88.162. From where I get this IP address? This IP address is from this command, from this output. Okay, what we do? This is will be first opening of our hosting panel, well, where we will host our websites. So what we do? The default username and admin is username admin and password also admin. And when we press login, it says please change default admin password. Of course we will do it, but before we do it, you see, now we have Virtualbox, we have our server running, we have installed kloxo-mr hosting panel on our Centos server, and now for security reasons and also for usage reasons, I will take one more snapshot, and it will be kloxo-mr start. And take this snapshot. It will fastly save. And one more thing, do you remember that we have been chosen that our server have 256 gigabytes of storage? Before we can see it, of course, let's check admin password. I will change it, and I will change it like to my because it is your hosting panel, I advise to set up a difficult password, and I will set it up here. Update. Great, we are on our local, by this time local server. We update some things that must be updated. Here we just have to update our time zone. I will don't select the correct, but in your, how to say, in this list you can find the correct one. After doing that, we go home and it is prompts that we have to set up our mail server. Only thing that here is may set up, it is your mail server address, and I will update it. So now let's go back to our plan. So plan, we will open it and look. First, second, and third point also is set up. kloxo-mr is base is set up. We can put it underline or italic. Of course, what we have to do, snapshot kloxo-mr start taken. Of course, we also need to do it because believe me, when you will experiment with all this stuff, there will be things that you will need to roll back because, for example, you have mistaken something. So set up kloxo-mr, we can just here press done. Networking, if we talk about networking, then it's all great with networking because local IP address we have got, we can ping some outside address, and so networking also good. Also, do you remember that I have told you that in our router configuration it's better to make static IP address for our server IP address. Okay, by this time what we will do more? Let's take a look. Go to plan, networking. Okay, networking is okay. But if you will explore the theme of networking, I would you advise one more website which I have added to the bookmarks. Now I will look in the bookmarks where it is. Wait a little bit. So it would be, well, maybe this one is also good. But of course, Google, if you are able to write good search keys, you can find this, this one, this thing, this link I will add up. Maybe you will be interested. For example, if you want to static configuration for your server, but all configuration in Centos is stored in add sysconfig network script. So maybe let's go to that place. I go putty cd add sysconfig network script, and now ls to list files, and if you can see, this is our interface which will communicate to the outside. So we can open it with command v. We can look what is configuration here. For example, if you would like to make your Centos server hosting platform static IP address, this will be the correct file where you will do it. And now to exit, we will quit. So let's go back. I have a lot to tell you, and let's go maybe in plan one more time. We will use DHCP. It is okay. You saw that we are using DHCP. we have opened our hosting platform locally. Locally it means by the local IP address. We have done it already, so we can mark it that is done. One more thing about network configuration, I have shown you link. This manual also will be in the description of video. I can close it. Let's go back. Port forwarding and WatchGuard configure and register and configure domain A types. And this section I can tell you that it is not very easy, but I will try to go through to tell you other things. Okay. So let's continue. Before we want be able making websites and adding websites and files and what things we need. First thing it is the DNS templates. Of course, I would like to recommend you to learn how to set the DNS zone at least one, but maybe at this point uh, some very important stuff of which I need to tell you. First, let's go to servers. Our server is localhost and think that it is important. You see here is you have 255 gigabytes which you can use. In fact, home folder is smaller. It is 207 gigabytes, but of course it's fairly enough. Maybe it prompts something more. Okay, let's do that configuration. At this point, I can tell you that you can continue on your own to working with kloxo-mr, but if you spend some 20 minutes of your time and look some interesting stuff that I would like to tell you about kloxo-mr, then it would be for you useful. Here we can use we can enable multiple PHP. If we press here and update, it means that you can choose for your domains, for your sites, which PHP version to use. What I have done here, I will change to this one, PHP version 7.1. Here I will not some stuff. Here is important to choose. Of course, in my other server, which I'm using for real purposes, I have checked here multiple PHP enable. Okay, I press update. This server will update this setting, and now will be very interesting that we will add our domains and our DNS zones. But how to to show you it correctly, I will need to access hosting panel. And now we'll be in this video what we will need about port forwarding, of course. So if to talk here, what port forwarding we need? Port 80. It is used by plain HTTP. It is port 443, which is used for HTTPS, and port 53, it is used for DNS records. So now we are here in the hosting uh, uh, the main hosting panel, which I mentioned in the start of the video, and here I go manage. And also this PHP setting takes a little time, but it doesn't prevent me from clicking home. So very important thing at start, what we should do, we go to server, to services, and it is like from first things what should you do if you want to continue to using kloxo-mr as your hosting panel. Besides, kloxo-mr is very like a cPanel, but cPanel is for money, but kloxo-mr is fully free. And now we will wait, and you see this service firewall-d. I advise you to unmark it because this one green means it is loaded after reboot. Also, I have searched the internet and I also had the problem when I have like rebooted my virtual machine, it became unresponsible. So firewall-d must be disabled because what we look now on these thing services I will don't change. I will change after one important thing. Okay, we go to our domain, go advanced DNS. Do you remember bytes fun? It is the domain which I have used for my server localhost, not localhost but host name. And in our, of course, maybe you also should do this in your domain hosting panel. Where have you registered your domain, you should point your domain to your external internet IP address. Besides, I will copy it because I will use it one thing in one place, this IP address. And okay, go back, server, switch program. The switch program section shows what we are using. And first thing is the DNS. I recommend you change to Power DNS. Spam, we can disable it. Email client, we can choose Dovecot. But the main thing you see, DNS, Power DNS. Why? Because when by default it is binned, by the I don't work, it doesn't work really well with binned. So I will change it to Power DNS and press update. While doing this thing, let's go to my router. And in my router configuration file, which is firewall, do you remember that we need 3 ports to make our websites accessible from the outside, from the internet? It is port 80, port 443 and port 53. Of course, for FTP we need also 21 port, and for email we need 25 and 143. But this is a little bit outside of this video scope. We will change this 53, 80 and 443. Of course, in every router port forwarding is a little bit different. So if you want to work with your own hosting panel, you will have to learn how to port forward specific ports with your router. But in port forwarding, we of course must know for what IP address do we port forward. Here you see IP address ends with 162. So go back and I will change it. Port 53 action, and here I will change it to 168. Of course, by making this change, my server will become unresponsible, but no problem. 168 apply. Okay, port 80, also I will need, apply, OK, and port 443, address, action, apply, OK. Of course, what we will, if you have microtik, it's better to reset counter, but it is not obligatory. Okay, now port 53 is marked for my new server IP address, this, and this one is. Okay, it is done now. But before adding domains to our hosting panel, we should correct the DNS templates. And what here is needed? Of course, at the start there is no DNS template name, so let's create it. Test 1, for example. Primary DNS will be bytes fun, secondary DNS nothing. We press add. DNS template is created. We go to DNS template here. If you look on this section, you must know, or you must explore in the internet what is the DNS zone file. In fact, it is the DNS zone file. And here, do you remember I told you that I need this IP address? What I will do here, I will don't make a lot of, I will just add base, one more base, and it is done here. Hostname base value IP, my IP address for the outside. Now you see here this one, and in fact other things you will learn by yourself, or maybe you will follow other my videos about kloxo-mr, about hosting panel kloxo-mr, where I will tell a little bit further information. By this time, okay, a record is set up, NS is bytes fun, okay, and one important thing, we go to the general settings, and so our name server we change to our server hostname, and it is bytes fun. Okay, now we go back to our template. Maybe at this point everything is set up, so let's try to add the main name. And in fact, you can add any of your domain names. For example, here you see it is bytes fun domain. Of course, it could be also other domain I can add to my server. For example, I will add this domain. Now, in scope of this video, I will add two domains. So first one will be this one. I will map hotkey and press add. Adding domains, of course, we will have to wait until this is rounding. Oh, domain is added. And we will add one more domain name, and it will be our hostname domain, but it doesn't mean that we cannot use it for example, storing our website. And we make add. Here, if we go back here, what is important, what maybe will be for you usable in future, we go to advanced DNS, and here you see that I have a record A2, A3, A4, A5. It is like subdomains. It means if you understand what is domain and subdomain, the main thing, if you have domain bytes fun, you can add also subdomain. For example, for testing purposes, A23, we add subdomain. I will add one subdomain just for testing purposes. But of course this one will not work until it is added here. We add new record, a record, 823, mark my IP address, TTL to the minimum 1 minute, and OK. So let's go back. Now we go to domains, and here I will open, for example, this one domain. Of course, we must check if it is correctly working. Manage DNS. You see, this is stored all data from DNS template. At this point, it's all correct. Setup is correct. Besides, I didn't mention it, but resource IP address. Here you can find what is your local IP address and automatic settings. Here is okay. Besides, when you just installed your kloxo-mr, maybe the first thing what should you do? Go to resource IP addresses to see that you are getting local correct IP address. Okay, go back. Now it is domains. We have bytes, Hotkey, and 823. Okay, guys, at this point, what we have? We have our server kloxo-mr. Based on kloxo-mr, we have several snapshots, which at the first time I advise you take regularly. And we have our hosting panel. We can explore it because here is a lot of stuff, and here you can almost all of it you can access from this menu. By this time we have domains, we have like DNS template, which we of course can adjust. And one note, in general settings we must select bytes fun. Okay, it is okay. At this time I can tell you congratulations. Now if you have followed my guide, you have your own server which is running on Centos 7 operating system. There is a lot of interesting stuff that you can do here. You just explore and take your time. Of course, at first I wanted to tell you more, but this video is long enough, and that's it for today. The one last thing that I want to tell you, that we can shut down our server. Maybe let's do it from admin panel, web admin panel. So let's do that thing. Server. Now here is this power off. We press power off, power off. Now it will shut down our server. I want to explain you why. Because at this point, when we were making snapshots, they were taken when the machine is on. Of course, it's economy our time. We can revert to snapshot and we will get our virtual machine in state which is turned on. But sometimes with this thing can occur some errors. So when you have done everything, you have a lot of snapshots, everything is working on your server, it would be recommended to take snapshot when the machine is powered off. You just take all good, and that's okay. Snapshot is done, and that's okay. Okay, thanks guys for your time. I hope you find out this video interesting. Bye bye.